London happened, and obviously when one goes to London, one's first priority is to buy books. A lot of books. My name is Fee, and today I'm going to talk about all the books that I bought in July. The first two books I'm going to discuss today are written by Rainbow Rowell, and they are both contemporary romances. So the first one is Eleanor and Park. Eleanor is a girl and Park is the boy. Eleanor is new, and I suppose she meets Park on the bus. She is sitting next to him and Park is doing everything to stay invisible, but Eleanor is having none of it, and slowly and steadily they fall in love. It's a story about first love. The second one is Landline. Georgie's marriage with Neil is in trouble, and although they both still love each other, they are at a point that this doesn't really make any difference anymore. And one day Georgie has to stay home because of work, and Neil takes the children and he goes back to his parental home, and Georgie believes that now she's done it and this has been the final straw for their marriage. Same night, Georgie finds a way to communicate with a past Neil, and somehow she wonders if this is her opportunity to save her marriage. What a Girl Wants is the second in the Tess Brooks A Girl series. It's a chick literature book. Tess has to decide between a life that she has always dreamt about or a future she never imagined possible, and she has to make a choice and figure out what a girl really wants. Little Man by Louisa May Alcott is the second one in the Little Women series. You might want to check it out. This book is about Jo March, now Bar, and she runs the informal school at Plumfield. And with 2 sons of her own and 12 rescued orphans, trouble is never far away. It's historical fiction, and with this book also comes the third one in the series called Jo's Boys. They are pretty. It's a story when they are 10 years older and they're now all grown up, and one by one they return to Pemberfield and they talk about their adventures and unburden their hearts. I do have to mention that if you are interested in the Little Women series, there's also a book named Good Wives, but when you buy Little Woman there is a chance that Good Wives is combined with Little Woman. Make sure you check it out. If you buy Good Wives you might have it twice. Little Women, Good Wives, which is also inside here, Little Men, Jo's Boys. The next book that I've bought is probably a book that you already know about, as most of you live in a native English country, but since I don't live in a native English country, this book is still full of surprises for me, and it is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. This edition is the 50th anniversary edition by Arrow Books. This story is about a black man who has been charged for raping a white girl, and this is set in 1930. You get to see this story from the eyes of a young Scott and Jem, I believe. You get to see the irrationality of adult attitudes to race and class. I've heard so many good things about it. My expectations are quite high and I hope I won't get disappointed, because one of my friends has read this recently and she said she was disappointed. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. It's a lovely edition by Penguin. This story is about a woman who refuses to accept her appointed place in society and she finds love on her own terms. That's pretty much it. It says that it's passionate and poetic. I've heard a lot of people talk about it and I've been wanting to read it for so long, hating the copies that I've seen in the stores, but when I've seen this cover I realized I just had to buy it because it's beautiful and it's got leaves. These were all the classics. Now I'm going to move on to young adult, a bit dystopian, a bit fantasy. The Warrior Hair by Cinda Williams Chima. Read this book for the Booksplosions read along and I've written my review on my blog. This is about Jack, who's been born without a wizard stone, and his Aunt Linda calls for Dr. Longbranch and she saves his life by planting a warrior stone. But Jack manages to live a normal life and grows up like any other teenager until he forgets to take his medicine for his heart and realizes that without it he is a lot stronger, a lot more alive and feels better by it. And then his Aunt Linda takes him on a journey along with his friends to dig up one of his ancestors. He finds himself in the middle of a war between two visit families. Prologue I thought was very confusing. There are a lot of terms that aren't explained, and I have to admit that at one point I couldn't figure out what it meant and what was the reason behind it, and it was very slow paced at the beginning, and there was something about the reason of the tournament that didn't quite make sense in my head. But despite all of that, there's something in this story that really intrigued me, and I'm definitely going to pick up the second one in the Hair Chronicles series and see what will happen, and hopefully I'll get more invested in the series. And I've heard many people say that it gets better, so I can only see as we go along. The next one is Legend by Mary Lou, young adult dystopian. It's the first one in the Legend series. So what used to be the Western United States have now become the home to the Republic, and it's a nation that is in war with its neighbors. And June is born into a very wealthy family, whereas Day has been born in the slums. He is a criminal, don't have anything to do with each other until June's brother gets murdered, and Day is the prime suspect. They meet by chance and they know nothing about each other's past, and I really want to see how this goes when June finds out that he might have been the murderer. The next book is Angel Fall by Susan E. I've known nothing about this. The cover looked really pretty. It is a young adult paranormal. It has been 6 weeks since the angels returned to Earth and destroyed the world as we know it. When they fly away with a helpless little girl, his sister Penryn will do anything to get her back. This is the first book in the Penryn and the End of Days series for a Divergent collection written by Veronica Roth. And this book contains 4 stories about how he ended up in Dauntless, and it continues from there on, how he met Triss, and I suppose we get to see how he experienced the whole revolution of Divergent. Of course, it's a young adult and dystopian. When I was in London, one of the things we did was to visit independent bookstores, and one of them was Persephone Books. All the books published by them are in the same cover. It's grey with the title and the author in hair, and they have this remarkable thing that when you open the flap that you get pretty little things like that, and each book has its own pattern. This is The Village by Margarita Lasky. This story is about life in post-war Britain and of lovers who are divided by class. The next one I bought in the Shakespeare Globes Theatre, and the reason why I've bought it is because I thought it was hilarious to find something as classic as Shakespeare in a manga. Just no words needed. And it is As You Like It, and it's illustrated by Chi Kutsuwada. It is inspired by Shakespeare's As You Like It. Oh, it's just, oh, it's so graphic. Ooh, 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 I did not see this before. Ooh, oh, it's pretty. Ooh, it's pretty. So, As You Like It, illustrated by Chi Kutsuwada and inspired by Shakespeare, and I just thought it was hilarious to find this at the Shakespeare Globe Theatre. I suppose they can get money out of everything. I've bought a book that it's non-fiction, and it's written by Jason Vale, and it's 5 libs in 5 days. I seriously do not know how much this is, and I also do not know how I have to pronounce it, but it's about finding a healthy lifestyle, and this is detoxing your body while using juices. You can follow my blog, I will put a link down below. You can find me on Goodreads, you can find me on Twitter, on Tumblr, although I'm not very often on Tumblr. Bye! Please subscribe, and you can follow my blog. I'm going to I cannot see.